So I have I've got a few posts. So I've got lots to say because I always have lots to say. But so everybody keeps asking me like, how did you do? How did you do? And so, well, here's the thing. I get a lot of like people saying, I can't believe that you go into the show and you have that type of like expectation or mind thought, right? Like I think that people look at me and they go, "Why you should be a lot more competitive than you are. That's weird that you would go into a show and not just want to be like, I'm going to win. I'm going to beat everybody." I've never been like that. I've always been more competitive just with myself and with what I need to be better than my own yesterday. I'm very secure with the fact that that is my main objective with life, and especially with what I do on the stage. Because here's the thing, when I compete through the bodybuilding world, it's about changing the outside. Yes. And that's what I think most of the world sees, is all of us that are out there trying to have this like aesthetic. But we all have this backstory. We all have like a reason, we all have our why. We all have why we dedicate ourselves and sacrifice, and why we're disciplined, why we're determined, and why we are so consistent. And so for me, I went into this show and there was 10 of us in the show, and everybody's like, what's your expectation? And here it is. My expectation is to be better than I was last time on stage. And the running joke with me and my girlfriends is that I was 2 tits in. And so if you were following my story last year when I did Daytona and Tampa, I came into those shows, and if you go on and look at NBC News Online, I looked like shit. And Tampa, I looked a little bit better because I was like, something's going on. I couldn't figure it out. And then Daytona, I woke up a week out from Daytona and I only had one boob. So my right implant ruptured, and so I had all this inflammation, and my body just, it wasn't responding. So I was like, okay, I'm going to pad this. I'm not going to quit. I'm just going to go ahead and do it, because every time we get on stage, there is a lesson to learn and experience to be gained. And ultimately, we can always wait. We can wait until we're bigger. We can wait till we have more muscle. We can wait till we're more conditioned. We can wait till that boob comes back with surgery. Or we fight through it and we get comfortable with being uncomfortable, and then we grow with that lesson. And so that's my thought process. Obviously when I look at the photos, I do realize that I looked a lot worse than I thought I did, especially when I compare those photos with the photos that I had this weekend at the Indy Pro. So when I compare those, I'm like, my coach sent me that post and the picture, and I was like, oh Jesus, I can't believe I even look like that. But like, bless my heart for just giving it a shot and not quitting. So I should have, but I didn't. And so there's growth. There is growth in that process. So for starters, my plan was to be better than I was last show. And the fact that I had both boobs, it is a win, 2 tits in. But the decrease in inflammation obviously made my body dial in a lot better than it had last season. And to nail my posing, because I'm a posing coach. I know what to do. I can choreograph. I can do choreography. I can pose. I can see what needs to be done. But when I do it, I still need that accountability check. My coach looks at me, Chuck and Michelle from USA Gym. They give me their, give me their eye. They give me their advice, my friends. And then Kate Lane. So Kate Lane is an amazing posing coach, and she's an IFBB figure pro. And so she's got this very detailed eye. So when I went into her, and I'm going to post photos and another reel, so you'll be able to see this transformation picture from me from my pro debut when I was 50 to right now where I'm almost 55. She gave me these tips on how to keep my shoulder back, which allowed me to lift my chest so much more. What I was doing is, I trained shoulders a lot more to develop my shoulders more, so I would have more of that shape that they're looking for. but I was able to, because I had trained, lifted, and with intensity, I was able to grow and develop more muscle. But the posing tip was allowed me to open up through here, which allowed me to lift my chest more, which allowed me to turn. And then just keeping myself very poised and calm and having every single movement of my posing routine be intentional. I think that a lot of times girls will, and myself included, will get a little chaotic with the flair that they feel like they need, and they miss the completion of a movement. They go from one movement to the next movement without thinking, I'm going to finish this one first, and then I'm going to move into this next one, and then transition with a poised, fluid flow into the next part. And I think that we get that adrenaline rush, and we forget that we need to focus in on being poised and calm and fluid. That just putting all of those things together. Now, listen, this was my 45th competition. Some would be like, I can't believe you didn't get this shit together earlier on. I know, me either. It took a while. I mean, I was that, but my goal for this show specifically was to nail that posing and to be better than I was last time. And so that's that, right? So I know going in, looking at that lineup of those 10 girls and seeing these women backstage as I've gone through years and years, I know these girls bring the heat, right? So these women are over 50 and they're from all over the US. And I think there was a couple of them from out of the country as well. Regardless, that doesn't matter. So these women, some of them were Masters Olympians, like all of them were fantastic. And I came in last, as I should, because my glutes have always been subpar. It's always been the one thing that I have had to work super hard at. I don't genetically have those glute points, and I've been really working on it. My coaches have been helping me. I probably do need to train even harder. I had to switch gears from bikini to wellness, and when wellness came about, I got my pro card in wellness, but then I realized that at my age, I wasn't going to be able to develop the muscle that I needed to be competitive enough. So I had to move myself back into bikini, and then But knowing that training harder for wellness actually made my physique better for bikini. And I wish I would have clicked into that earlier on instead of just trying to bring my legs down. But sometimes it takes a while. So I got into this with the mindset of bringing myself, back into that bikini posing and that bikini mindset and that bikini shape that I need. And so I worked really hard on the training and really hard on the posing. I also had surgery, so I had both of my boobs were redone in the process. So all of that came together, and I'm going to compete again. My goal is to do either Hurricane Pro or Atlantic Coast at the end of the year. I'm going to wait till I'm going to turn 55, and then I want to compete with 55. So, but I think that obviously I'm still working on improving my glutes, and they're better and better each time. And I'm going to do the very best that I can. But here's the lesson. And I really hope that some of you guys that are newer in the industry really listen and you've gotten to this 8-minute mark, because I want you to know that whenever you place lower than you would hope that you would place, because I, of course, knew going in that I was going to be last. I already knew that. And so I set my goals to where my goals were. And I look at these women, right? And they are so fantastic, right? So I was just the least fantastic that day. And I just want to encourage you to have that mindset whenever you might not place where you think you should place, that you have to look at, obviously there's room to grow, and we're going to grow, and every experience is going to make you stronger. And every time you get on that stage, especially if you go, I know that I am not quite at the level of those girls, but being around those women and being next to them on stage and watching them and just listening to their beautiful souls and seeing what they're doing to put themselves in that place where I look at them and I'm inspired by them, that is going to make me a better woman and a better competitor.